and this is Angie next to me, and we're talking about television, and it's kind of apropos to what we've been doing here just now.
Trying
It's
to
all,
get
yeah, it's still boiling down to the technology
right, right.
because I think we left them on technology a while back, not long ago, and
You'll have to watch that one too.
yes, because this is kind of an extension of it.
That
And-
it is. Well, we're of an age, and perhaps you are too, that we grew up with television. And when we were, teenagers or
or younger.
younger, yeah.
And older.
And when we had our own families
Mhm.
and we had television on for the children. So we're going to kind of go over some of those things because really television has changed. I mean, I think we constantly say that. Maybe it's because we're a mature woman.
Yes, and think about where we started with Milton Berle and I Love Lucy, and we saw the beginning shows.
Well,
right?
I think I mentioned this before, but my grandpa was the first one
Oh,
on his
that's
block
right.
to have a TV.
Mhm.
And, everybody was excited. It's kind of strange because everybody knew about it. I mean, just everybody come knocking at the door.
And all the kids came over and watched. And
well, that wasn't just the kids.
Oh, the
It was
adults too.
his neighbors in the
Sure.
in the area. So, but there were things that you tuned in on, and I mean, of course, it was black and white then too. It wasn't color.
This is true. And I remember when we got our first television set, it was because I had rheumatic fever, so they said. I truly never believed it. But they kept me in bed for 9 months because I had rheumatic fever, or almost a year. I say now it was like the school year because I can remember kids coming over singing at my window, and I was so embarrassed by that. I didn't feel that sick. My sisters used to pull me down the stairs on a blanket. I'm just saying. But anyhow,
Well,
that's-
but TV was always so, modern and so.
Yes.
I mean that you just were entranced with it. It was on until midnight, and the Star Spangled Banner came on.
yes, I remember babysitting. If you babysat, late in the night, a lot of my jobs would go till 1 or 2 in the morning, but the TV would go off at
Nothing to
it's-
watch.
Yeah, so 'cause
Now
it just-
you can.
you
You
can
can
watch.
watch it. 24 hours a day.
which is not good at all.
It does keep you company if you can't sleep. So.
This is true. Yeah, you know, always turn on the television.
But there were so many musicals and comedies and just family shows, that you always, when I was a young parent, I always felt the kids could watch the TV. I didn't have to say, well, now a little notice comes on the screen, this might not be
For your
suitable for
kids.
children. And so,
Yeah.
we had a different kind of direction about television
Yes.
than young mothers today. My gosh, they have to be so careful of what is on the shows that they're showing, and they're.
Mr. Green Jeans, remember that?
Well, the kids, and I love to watch the cartoons. with them.
Yes.
I mean, I really did. I mean, it's, you only had the cartoons when you went to the movies, and
Right.
so it
Yeah.
was kind of neat.
Yeah, the cartoons, all the just Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner. I remember the Roadrunner because my son loved one of my sons really loved to watch the Roadrunner.
But the television did appeal to the young people. I remember when my son was, well, maybe he's about 10 or 11, something like that. But Star Wars came on, and I tell you, that kid was addicted to that show. Had
Was
to
it
see
Star
it.
Wars or Star Trek?
Oh no, Star
Star
Trek.
Trek, I
Star Trek.
think, because that
Well,
was
Star
the,
Wars too.
Well, then that came after, right?
I know, yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
I
Star
think so.
Trek, right.
Yeah.
And
then
I
they had all
remember
this
my
stuff
husband and
going.
I were sitting out in the backyard summer and just enjoying the fresh air. and we could hear the TV antenna turning because
Oh,
my son was tuning in to Star Trek. And we always said, well, this kid's never going to get any fresh air. He's going to
yeah.
watch these TV shows till the end of the days.
And now it's gotten worse as far as kids playing outside and stuff. Now they're doing video games and all that stuff. But do you remember? I remember the first soap I ever watched was One Man's Family. Were you ever into soaps?
No.
Oh, see, and then I watched As the World Turns.
I think I used to watch that sometimes, but I mean, I'm not a person to get into a series of things where you had to you had to be there the next day to see what happened the day before, and I just kind of rejected that.
I really am a series person. To this day I still watch a series. I mean, I have watched, and I've probably mentioned this before, the one that I think it's been out for 10 years is Breaking Bad. Why would I watch Breaking Bad? You know what that's about. But I love it. I like the acting. So, but that's up to modern times. But we did have, remember the Sid Caesar show?
Yeah,
And
you know,
Imogene Coca, Sid Caesar. And
yeah, I mean, and
funny.
it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. That you could see people dancing and singing. And
Yes.
I know my grandparents; they're Russian, and when on Sunday evening, if they had a Russian dance group,
Sure.
they were just like so
The
happy
Ed-
to see it.
Probably on the Ed Sullivan show.
Ed Sullivan, yes,
Yeah.
you're right. You're
Sure.
right.
Do you remember the comedy, the Colgate Comedy Hour with Martin and Lewis?
Oh,
That was funny. That was good.
and the big thing is that you were entertained.
Yes.
As versus I look at television, it's on, for the noise. But I'm not watching it because, there is nothing really.
Well, the news is so depressing, and we just, I think at our age, some of us just assume, what are we going to be able to do about it other than cast our vote, right?
Yes, cast your vote.
Cast our vote. It's very important to vote, folks. But other than that, go marching or tearing down a building or something, that's not going to happen. I'm just saying, and I wouldn't do that anyhow.
But
'cause that
all
wasn't in
those
my
things
nature.
have now disappeared.
Yeah.
There's no musicals on anymore. Of course, maybe there
Oh,
isn't
there
any
are. There are musicals.
on TV.
Yeah, you could get the ones that were on the movies. But
Oh,
not
but I mean-
but not the comedy shows like Sonny and Cher or even Marie and Donnie.
That they had guests and all
they
that
had
kind
guests. You don't have those shows anymore.
No, and it's like
It's depressive stuff.
right, and real deep.
Deep,
really
all the
deep
police
shows.
shows and the
And-
Chicago Med, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire Department, and that's kind of depressing enough.
And
Chicago is.
studies have said, that perhaps it's just too much. Too
Right.
much shooting and stabbing, and too much real dark, deep stuff.
And it's not that we didn't have shooting in our days. We did have Hopalong
Western.
Cassidy and Roy Rogers and
But they
You
never
know-
hit anybody. Oh no,
Well,
they did. They fell off the
They
horses.
did. They
Yeah,
fell off
you
the
know.
horse and thing. But it wasn't as real. I mean, I think nowadays they blow up something, you swear they blew it up. I mean, everything looks so, the blood looks real. I mean, if you go back, if you would compare the old. I went back, I think I watched The Fly or something with Vincent Price. I love Vincent Price. But I'm not sure if he was I think so. Well, anyhow. So, but I laughed all the way through because it wasn't scary. It was supposed to, it was supposed to be this real scary show, but then it wasn't. Now you look at it in comparison to what's out there.
Yeah, it's you were always kind of guaranteed that there's going to be some resolution to whatever the story was in the
That's-
families,
yeah.
and
Father knew best.
yeah, if I,
Well, mother knows best, but it was
Why does
father.
it ever have one
Yeah,
of
it
those?
was-
They didn't have
well,
one of those.
There was father knows best, and but you know, and the Nelsons.
Right, and so it always came out well. Somebody
Yes.
learned a lesson,
Mhm.
or it was happy,
It was
or
happy.
they helped somebody. But nowadays it's just, um, well, it's dark and deep, and
It's-
if I was a young mother now, I'd be really concerned about letting my kids watch a lot of TV. I knew a couple that in the 80s, I think it was. They didn't have a television, and they didn't let their children watch TV because they felt it was going, it was turning bad, and it was going to influence their children with drugs and all of that kind of stuff. So
Well, they were right, but then those kids probably went somewhere else and snuck and watched television anyhow. So, do you remember the Dukes of Hazzard? I remember not letting my kids watch that because I thought it was too wild.
I never watched that show. I mean, I don't know. I'm maybe not that much a TV person.
No.
I like History Channel and stuff like that, where I'm actually learning something. I don't know what that is as an obsession, I guess.
Yeah, I've been told
But I
recently
kind of long for,
something easy.
well, in the old shows. Although now, if they brought those old shows back, we would probably be sitting there bored. You just don't know
Probably,
how
yeah.
how your psyche has been affected by, over the years, building up.
Yeah, it's almost like a being brainwashed in a way.
Well, yeah, and it's like you accept more,
Yeah,
and so then the ordinary or more purist kind of life is boring to you. I mean,
right. Well, even in commercials, if you look at the commercials and things, I'm telling you, there's some commercials. I'm going, what? I'm trying to eat my lunch because I eat my lunch or my food in front of my television. It's just me, so who cares? So I will sit there and watch television, and then they're putting on some stupid hemorrhoid thing or some woman.
well, you would have
Everybody
never.
poops. Well, I don't need to see that, you know.
Well, the
Or-
big thing is, there were certain subjects that were risque when
Yes.
television first came out. I mean,
Sex.
there's never
Too
a
many.
swear word or anything like that, or any talk of a sexual nature that
Used to
it's
sleep
now it's just completely.
Remember Lucy and Desi? They had separate beds. They had twin beds. They weren't allowed to show people sleeping together. You
Right.
know.
And so television has changed. I guess we can be more selective because we got all these channels now. Used to be we only had maybe 2 or 3 channels, and those were the networks, and there was nothing else. And now if you have a particular interest, you can say, all right, I'm not going to watch these yucky things. I'm going to watch what I like. And so that's a good thing. I guess that's an improvement.
Yeah. I think it is an improvement. It's just a very the television is gone into a whole nother way. But you could watch some good things too. I mean, the televisions that they are today with the big screens and stuff. If you're watching
Sports things.
sports, like we watch the Packers
Yes,
on the
we
big
do.
screen, and that's fun. You're like right on the field there, and so those things. Or if you're watching something that shows pretty scenery, that's good too.
But I think what happens is that the people who object to some of the stuff that's shown on television don't complain to anybody, or don't write the sponsor, or don't do this, or don't do that. And I know they had some hearings a couple of years ago about TV, but nothing ever came around. I mean, they haven't
Well,
changed anything or improved
on the
anything.
other hand, I mean, I don't think you're going to stop showing of stuff. I personally don't need to see sex on the screen. I mean, I think that is why that's just, it's the wrong thing. And sometimes they even have these kinds of things in commercials and stuff. And then now you're watching a Super Bowl or something, and some commercial comes on that is a little too risque or whatever. But oh, did I tell you, Angie? I have found the best perfume for old people.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
She's changing the subject.
I am. It's called Vicks and Voltaren.
Oh,
Sorry, folks, I had to do that.
I know she wants to be a stand-up comic.
Well,
I think.
I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could maintain it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know,
You'd have to bounce it off somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have a puppet or something.
Oh, yeah, but then you have to be a ventriloquist, right?
Oh well, the puppet could just be listening to
Oh,
you.
the puppet could just laugh, right? I think you just hit on something.
A laugh track. Yeah.
By the way, talking about laugh tracks, do you know that I'm hearing laugh tracks again? They're out there, right, folks?
Yes, on
the
shows.
laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that about? Is it because of COVID or something? They started, or don't they have on? I mean, I don't know, but I noticed there are laugh tracks again, and
Well, it must cost money to have.
an audience.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how all that works. A lot of it is, you
Yeah.
get free tickets if you know, call. You're going to go to New York or you're going to go to Hollywood or something, and if you wanted to see a certain show, that is kind of available to you. So
Yeah, I think they have live audiences for like Wheel of Fortune and stuff.
Oh,
don't
yeah,
they?
yeah.
No, there's a good show. Wheel of Fortune is a good show.
It's a game thing, and it's a
Yeah.
game thing, and it's amusing to you because you're playing along with whoever is
Right.
playing. Okay, and that's a good thing.
Can you
but-
believe those people never get old? Vanna White, she's still wearing heels at her. I mean, the high. I'm just saying, whatever.
Oh well. But the big thing is, I always thought, gee, put on the old. Well, some of them are on TV now on weird hours that local TV stations want to fill up with commercials. That we see more of those because they were very inspiring, I thought, and I thought very unique and in subjects that you could talk about with your children, or teenagers or whatever. Nowadays, these shows are so,
They do have some good history shows I've seen. Come
yeah,
on,
I mean, but they are, they are giving you something to stimulate your mind,
yes.
Now, just these shows about, somebody gets kidnapped, then they get killed, then they find the killer, and then they find out he's crazy, and I mean, there's all those kinds of
And
scenarios.
I know, and I watch them all the time. I watch all those crime shows. I love watching like 2020 and 48 Hours. You don't watch any of those, I'll bet.
No, I don't.
I don't know.
Well, I
it's
mean,
just
like I
fun
say,
watching
I have
those.
television on.
Yes.
If I'm doing something else or I'm thinking or whatever, a lot of times I even turn the sound off,
Yeah.
and just have it, I'm on my computer or on my iPhone. There's always, something that you could put instead of,
Yes.
TV. But it certainly is needed for someone who is, living alone. We talked about that,
Yes,
about,
yeah.
getting involved in something on television that you enjoy or you want to learn something from it. But I think that there's a lot of concern, and maybe because our population doesn't think they can do anything about it, so they don't.
This is
and
true.
it keeps going on, and it keeps
Yeah.
getting worse. So
Yeah.
I object to that. I really do. I think voice yourself like.
We're voicing ourselves. We want something that's fun and entertaining out there. Something that used to be. And
Well,
it's
I
getting
knew this lady that she always wrote to the sponsor if she didn't like the quality of the show,
There you go.
or it was obnoxious in some way or offending in some
Right.
way, and
Well, we got enough.
she
people
always
out
did
there.
that, and really. The
But-
sponsors do respond to you.
Oh.
I mean, they don't want to lose you if you're a customer or a viewer because they're spending millions on commercials.
But now, then we start talking about the cancel culture and all that crap out there, which isn't right either. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it can't be out there. Freedom of speech and freedom of.
I know. I mean,
all
yeah,
that
it's a
stuff.
double-edged sword. I know.
So
I
it's
know.
it's just one of those things.
But I guess we're looking at what is.
How our lives have changed throughout the watching years of television, right? Everything has changed.
Well, we've been conditioned
Mhm.
to accept all these
We
new
have.
things because the TV is always on for some reason, and we our opinions are changed on people. Look at all the commercials for political groups and
Yeah.
such.
We don't
I mean,
need
and
those.
you hear them and you think, oh gosh, I can't vote for them. Then you hear the persons you might vote for, and that one's bad too. So,
Yeah.
you really,
Yes,
it's like, give me some positive stuff.
That's
What are you
right.
going to do for us?
Right. Don't.
How are you going to entertain us?
Mhm.
We don't need to have all these negative thoughts.
Right? Why can't they put a political commercial on there that says, "This is what I'm going to do for you," and not complain about whoever's running against them?
And
Just-
we never know
just-
what they're going to do. Never.
Right? You don't know because they're just lying anyhow most of the time. So it's just one of those things. But we want to thank you for watching us and letting us spout off today.
Right, and don't forget to subscribe. Or send us a comment. We always like to hear from you. So remember, this conversation is always between you and me.